Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, we seen a couple of good fights on the weekend. Only one was kind of, I didn't like the result to that one, you know what I'm saying? But okay, I ain't going to even mention the name. Bottom line, Hamza Shiraz took care of Edgar Berlanga, and we'll see what that's gonna what it was gonna do. Well, I did a video yesterday about. Let's see how the Canelo fans react to that. Do they still want him to fight him? I doubt it, but we talked about that. Now the biggest one, all right, the biggest fight should have been just main event. Was Shakur Stevenson's one-sided win over William Cepeda. Now, William Cepeda still has things to be proud of, but we've talked about that already. We're going to concentrate on Shakur Stevenson and the reaction that we should be having that I'm not seeing. I'm seeing a couple of things that are being said positive, on the night, but we have to remember this. What Shakur Stevenson did is a lot more significant than what we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who was told that he was a runner, right? And he was never a runner. So you got to imagine that. You know damn well you're not a runner, but you're being called that, all right? And all over the place, social media, mainstream media, everywhere, you're being called that, right? No one's giving you props for wanting to fight an undefeated fighter in William Cepeda, right? At all. So that's another thing. Then you're supposed to go in here and fight this guy in a smaller ring. That means they made the ring even smaller. So you can fight in there so the other guy can have advantages, right? Not the only guy on the card that uses his legs, defense, right? But the only one really being called a runner. So you have to go through that. So you come in and you do what Sugar Ray Leonard did with Duran in the first fight. You stand right there and fight this guy's fight, right? Really saying, well, I'm going to get hit a little bit more, to the head and to the body, but I'm going to stay right here and fight this guy's fight. And to win damn near every round, at least 10 of the 12 rounds, against a fighter that throws a lot of punches, fighting him right where he's supposed to be. That is exceptional. That's once in a generation type stuff. Let me tell you why. Because what this has done is, like you guys say nowadays, Shakur didn't even reach in his bag. He has a whole different, he could have fought him a whole different way. Sugar Ray versus Duran 2, where Duran quit. Shakur could do that. He's not that good on his feet like Sugar Ray, but he could have definitely got hit a lot less against Cepeda. Make it more one-sided. But to go in here and fight Cepeda's fight and to make that a one-sided fight means his bag is bigger than Santa Claus's. That means, because I'm just going to use a fourth of my bag, right, and beat him, dominate one of the very good fighters in the division, right? Now, that is exceptional, and it has to be talked about for weeks, right? Because this is what the problem is, I always call it, but I ain't gonna I'm trying not to go there and say what I want to say, but a lot of times, black people, are not worthy for people to tell them, I'm sorry, to people to show remorse and to excuse themselves, right? You don't apologize to blacks. You don't. You just kind of keep it moving. No one's going to tell you to apologize. Apologies are in order here to Shakur Stevenson. Apologies. People just say, show your humility and say, damn it, I was talking all this smack to this guy. And he went in here and did exactly what we wanted, right? And dominated a guy that there's no way we thought we wanted. Like the Fox News of boxing, Boxing News 24, was saying that Cepeda's going to beat him and this and that, and he, Turkey Adachi is good, that he should make the ring smaller. And right now he comes out there and do that. And I'm not seeing the articles like, damn it, we just saw something awesome from this guy. Now they're gonna move on to the next person they can hate on. Right? Instead of saying no. Apologies are in order for Shakur Stevenson. Props are in order for Shakur Stevenson. What he's done is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous because it wasn't against anybody. And like I said, to go in there basically say, okay, it's fighting basically with one hand. You know, we've seen a couple of fighters fight with one hand because one hand is messed up, and we don't say nothing about it. I mean, you know, like I say, we don't. Floyd Mayweather's only loss that they try to say against Castillo, yeah, either his hand or his shoulder was really hurt. He was basically fighting that fight with one hand. Nobody mentions it. I've seen Deontay Wilder. The guy who only has a right hand, right? The one-trick pony. We call him the one-trick pony. He only has the right hand. He swings. That one is wild too, right? I'm talking about this dude's right bicep, and his hand is broke, and his right bicep in one fight. And he fights one hand, a jab against Chris Arreola, and jabs him into submission and plays with him, even though he has one hand. People, if you don't like somebody, then you just blind yourself. But even if you don't like somebody and you watch him box it, I mean, you see that the man's hand is hurt and his right bicep is, you can see it was hanging all up damn near in his shoulder, his bicep. And he's out there fighting a Chris Arreola with one hand, playing around, jabbing, which people say he can't do, and we act like we don't see stuff like that. I remember that. I'm like, man, that's ridiculous, this guy. This little skinny guy, Chris Arreola's Chris Arreola. He was only beaten by Vitaly Klitschko and Bermane Stiverne at the time. Wasn't like he was beaten by everybody. It was, you know, so we don't see stuff when we don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Especially if a brother's up to it. What Shakur Stevenson did was ridiculous. And I'm just making sure we don't kind of move on from it and start just going to the next person and start hating. We thought, or many people thought, if he stands still and don't move around, that William Cepeda was going to overwhelm him. And it was nothing of the sort. So bow down, show humility, and go somewhere in the comment section or Boxing News 24/7, Fox News, write a positive article about a brother. Get over yourselves. Make sure you do it. I know the demand is for, brother bashing. I know that. But get over yourself. Show the people that you're human first and racist second. Shakur Stevenson deserves apologies and props because it was exceptional what you just witnessed. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.